Hello everybody. So give me a hi or comment if you're on today. I see a couple of you. So we've had some rain here in Sacramento, which is a good thing. The rain has been really late this year. Usually we get rain in October, usually late October, but we just really had, I think we had a little bit of maybe a week or so ago, but yesterday we finally got some rain and overnight, so that's good. Hopefully there'll be more on the way. So today I'm going to make a Christmas card, and I think from now on, what I'm going to do is on Wednesdays from now until Christmas, I'm going to do what I'm going to call handmade Christmas. So it won't be cards, but it'll be other things handmade. So bags, boxes, gift card holders, treat holders, that kind of thing. So, but easy ones, even games. I've got an idea. I saw someone do a little game, so I've got an idea for that too. So I'm going to kind of do some fun stuff for the next few weeks. But today we're going to make a card and I'm going to get straight into it because I've got a few different techniques that I want to show you, and I didn't want to do too much ahead because I wanted you to see how I do things. So rather than spend a lot of chit chat beforehand with stuff, I'm going to get straight into the card. So I'm going to turn you down to my desk and show you what we're going to be making. So this is the card that a similar card to this they're going to be making, and it uses this stamp set. Here, let me see if I can do something fun here. Oh, look, now you can see me. Let's try that. See if that's weird or not. So anyway, this is the stamp set that we're going to be using. It's called Peace and Joy, and it has matching dies. And the dies are cool because they do 3 layers. Let me show you it in the catalog. So here is the stamp set. So this was actually one of the first ones I got from the catalog because I thought it was I loved how you could do all this layering with the dies. You can do all 3 layers, or you can just do 1, and then you can actually stamp them. We're not going to be stamping them today, we're just going to be die cutting, but I thought it was just a really cool set, but I haven't, this is the first time I'm using it, I can't believe it. And then it's got all these other little sentiments so that you can combine them to make your own. So the card that we're going to make today is, I just showed you, is this one, and it's using a snowflake embossing folder as a background. So let me show you how I'm going to make one a little bit similar. Hi Vicky, hi Christine, hi Kristen, yay, everybody's joining. So let's get started. So what I did, and we're using watercolor paper for this. So here is this is the Stampin' Up's water paper. It's called Fluid 100 watercolor paper. So this is what I'm using today, and I cut it down a little bit, and what I did is I embossed it first with the snowflake. Hopefully you can see that. This is I forget what it's called, snowflake something or other embossing folder, and it's not a 3D embossing folder, it's a regular one. We have some really thick ones that give a really deep impression. This is just a regular one. So, and then we're going to do some watercoloring today. So what I like to do when I'm watercoloring is I like to use a clipboard and tape this down. If you've done watercoloring before, you know that once you start watercoloring, the paper all curls up and warps. So what I like to do is to tape it down to a board like this. Now you can use whatever you have. You can use a cutting board. You can use, you can just put it down on your grid paper. What I like to do it on this because I can actually pick it up and move it, and also I can use my heat gun on it to dry it because it's heat resistant. So I'm just taping down, and I'm using this purple. It's kind of like masking tape or painter's tape. So whatever you have like that, washi tape works too. And I want to just cover the very edge because I want to, you know, watercolor as much as I can. I will cut it down afterwards, but I want to leave as much as I can showing to watercolor. I saw at our on stage at home, excuse me, last weekend before last, our CEO and our mother did a presentation, and Shelley, her mother, did some watercoloring, and I thought, I haven't done watercoloring for a long time. I need to do some, so I kind of got the watercoloring bug. So let's take our colors. So the three colors I'm going to use, let's see how I'm going to do this so you can see, are Misty Moonlight, Pacific Point, and Balmy Blue. And then there's a number of different ways you can do this. So with our old style ink pads, we used to be able to squeeze like this, and when you'd open it, there'd be a bunch of ink in here, which does work on some of them, but not all of them. So you can do that and then use this kind of as your watercolor palette. Or if you're having trouble getting it to kind of squeeze into there, you can take our little re-inker bottles and squeeze some in. But I'm going to show you a different way today, which I find really easy. So I'm going to open them up. And then what I like to do is I like to take some acrylic blocks, which I've always got lying around, and I just smush them into the ink pad. And now I've got them covered in ink. So there's 1, 2, 3. And then what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to close up my ink pads and sit it on top. That way I'll kind of remember which is which, hopefully. I mean, you can see for the most part. So if you don't have re-inkers and you're having a hard time squeezing to get to the ink into the lid, this is a really quick and easy way. You can use a block of any size. Then I'm going to use, I've got a couple of other things I want to show you. So I've got a Spritzer bottle, which is just, these come 2 to a pack, and I've just got it filled with water because I'm going to spritz my watercolor paper just a little bit. And then I'm using these they used to be called aqua pens, now they're called water painters. They come 3 to a set, and there's the one we're going to be using today is this wide one, which is nice for doing like a watercolor wash. And then there's a narrow one, and then kind of one in between. So these are fairly new. What's weird about these, and I don't know if I've just got an odd set or if they're all like it took me a while to get used to. The screw mechanism is backwards. So to unscrew it, you go, I don't know, it would be like you'd normally be screwing it together, and then you have to, what you'd normally be doing, unscrewing to close it. So that, I thought, what is wrong with this? I couldn't get it open. So like I said, I don't know if I've just got a defective set or if they're all like that. It's kind of odd. But anyway, so let's get started. See if I can move my stool over a little bit. All right, so I'm going to spritz my paper lightly. And let's see. Oh, hi, Kathy. Kathy says hers is backwards too. Isn't that weird? I don't know. That's strange. Well, that's good to know that, well, I don't know. I was kind of hoping that I had a defective one. And that the others were all normal, but that's good to know. Good to know. It just took a bit of getting used to. So anyway, I'm going to spritz really lightly on here just to wet it just a little bit with my spritzer. And then, whoops, that's the wrong lid. And then I'm going to take my wide watercolor pen. And Vicky says hers are like that too. Well, now I know. And I'm going to start out with the lightest color. I'm going to go from light to dark. And I'm going to just squeeze out a little bit of water from so this just has water in the barrel here, so it saves you having to have water close by. I do actually have some water close by so that I can clean off my brush if I need to. Then I'm just going to start at the top, and I'm just going to do like a wash. And if you run out of ink on your block, you can just, you know, refill it when you need to. Just go and smush it on the ink pad again. Now I'm going to go to my next color, which is Pacific Point, and this is quite dark, so I do definitely want to add some water to it. And I'm just going to go easy on this one. And don't be alarmed, it's going to look dark to start with. And I'm going to blend them a little, but I kind of want some distinct layers here. All right, so that's Pacific Point. And then I'm going to go into, and you can clean it off. You can have a paper towel at the ready that you can kind of squeeze some water out onto to clean it. Or you can just, I do have like a little pot of water that I can clean it off in a little bit faster. Oops, now it doesn't matter too much actually when you're going from light to dark. It doesn't really matter if going from these to this dark blue if I don't clean it off that well. But now I'm going to wet this just a little bit more because it's dried and the blue is quite dark, so I don't want it. There we go. And as long as you keep your watercolor paper wet, you can kind of keep adding. So you can do this as light or dark as you like. Clean the brush on your chamois, that's a good idea. Thank you, Kathy. I don't know where my chamois is right now, but that's a good idea. All right, so that's basically it. And you can go back over and make it darker if you like, whatever, and you can blend them more if you like. I kind of wanted the 3 different levels, but let's just clean that off in there. So, and if you're going to be doing more with these, you can actually just leave them to dry rather than cleaning them off, and then you can just smush them back into your ink pad, which is the lid. There we go. If you know when you're ready to do your next one. So I might do some more later, so I will just leave these for right now inside, put my ink pads away. Now, of course, I do have one already done. I wasn't going to make you wait for this. It dries actually pretty quick, and you can. What's nice about doing it on here is you can use your heat gun on here to dry it. Another thing you can do that I do sometimes, I don't know what I did with mine, but sometimes I use the insert for the chamois, for the Stamparatus. I don't know where I put it. The kind of plastic coated wipeable insert foam pad for the Stamparatus. Sometimes I use that to tape my watercolor paper down onto too. So anyway, let's put that one aside to dry, and then I'm going to grab one by the magic of Facebook Live, one that I've already done. So this one I did a while ago and it's dried off. So I'm going to take my tape off, but you need to be really careful. Pull it back on itself really slowly so that you don't tear it. If it's dry, it shouldn't tear. Don't try and take this off when it's wet, because with the watercolor paper being wet, it will it'll tear the watercolor paper. So you can just tear this off carefully. It's always fun to, when you've kind of masked something like this, it's always cool to see the line that you get. You could possibly reuse this tape, but I'm going to throw it away for right now. So there we have one. And I actually have another one. Let's see which one we like best. This one's a little bit darker, but it's kind of got a dark patch there. This one is, well, I don't know. I kind of like the one that's a little bit darker, I think. Now, I was kind of disappointed because once I watercolored it all over, it was a little bit hard to see the embossing. You can still see it a bit. Oh, there we go. But I didn't know how much it would show. So what I decided to try was I took some sandpaper and thought, I wonder if I can just sand off some of the paint that's the watercolor that's on the top. So now this Stampin' Up, do you remember these, Kathy or Vicky? Stampin' Up used to sell these a long time ago. They're little sanding blocks. But if you don't have one, you could use any piece of sandpaper that you have lying around the house. You could just wrap it around. This is kind of a small one, but you could wrap it around a block. Kathy says she still has hers. and then just use it like this. You can also just buy, like at the dollar store, these kind of things that, you know, for your nails and that. So you could buy one of those too. But I still have some of these Stampin' Up! Ones. So you want to make sure your watercolor is really dry before you do this. But you can just, if you go just gently over the top, you can start to make pan in a little bit so you can see. You can start to reveal some of your snowflakes. It's like magic. Because I was kind of bummed that you couldn't really see them. I think if this had been one of the 3D embossing folders, you would have been able to maybe see them a bit more, but isn't that cool? Now, if you rub too hard, you'll rub away the embossing, you know, the embossed part. But if you just do it gently, you can take off the watercolor off the top. I hope you can hear me above my sanding. But you can just take the paint off and still see the snowflakes. Isn't that cool? Now, if you forget to emboss your watercolor paper before you watercolor, you can also watercolor first and then emboss once it's dry, and then do this. So that's an option because I've done that before. All right, a little bit dusty here. All right, so let me trim this down. I'm going to trim it to 4 by 5 1/4. So let's see, I think I've got plenty. My trimmer. I'm going to take off the edges and then I'm going to see how much more I need to take off. Our watercolor paper is nice and big, so you can go a little bit bigger to start with. And as I was making, getting stuff ready this morning, I thought, you know what would have been cool was to do like a slimline card using this. But then I realized that the embossing folder wasn't big enough. I don't know if I could try and line it up, but I thought that would be cool if we had slimline embossing folders, wouldn't it? So Stampin' Up! If you're listening, we actually have a hi Carol. We actually have a sandbox that we can put our suggestions in. So I'll have to put that into the sandbox for a slimline embossing folder. It could be the same width as our regular ones, just longer, right? Okay, so this is going to go on a white card base that I have somewhere lying around. Okay, so this is going to open this way. So we're going to go from dark to light. And I need to do some die cutting. So I'm going to, on this one, I'm going to put Peace and Joy. This one had Bright, but I'm going to do Peace and Joy on this one. So I'm going to grab my Peace and Joy dies, which is these two. And I want the largest dies, the ones that go at the very back. Okay. And I'm going to position those, make sure I have them the right way up. So this is Peace, that goes like that. And then, which way around is Joy? I think it's that way. Let me grab my white piece. Nope, it's this way. That would be bad, wouldn't it, to do it upside down? Yeah, like that. So I'm going to grab my big shot that I got right here. Usually I don't do too much big shot work in my Facebook Lives, but kind of have to on this one. So let's see if I can pan out a little bit. There we go. And plates here. I'm using my new Stampin' Up! I can never remember the name of this. It's the Stampin' Emboss and Cut machine. Is that what it is? But I've heard people calling it the Boss, so I'm just going to call it the Boss too. So I'm going to set this on here. Kind of how position them how I want them. I think that's good. And I'm going to die cut these. All that to one side, but I do need it again in a minute. Whoops. So here's our, that layer, and here's our peace and joy. I can put these ones away. Now, I've already die cut the next layer to save a little bit of time. So there's joy, and here's peace. But I thought I would die cut the, I wanted to show you the little skinny words are kind of tricky to glue on this final layer. You can use a fine tip glue pen or your Tombow, but we do have these self-adhesive sheets that work really well for little skinny dies. They're adhesive sheets. They're adhesive both sides, so you put them onto the back of your cardstock and run them through your die cut machine, and then when you peel off the back layer, you've just got kind of like a sticker. So these come in a pack of, I think it's like 12 sheets for $10, and they last for ages, because usually you're only using a small part of a sheet. So I've got some Misty Moonlight cardstock right here that I'm going to use. Let's see if this is going to be big enough. Grab my dies. So I need the joy die, and I need peace, which is right here. Yeah, so that'll be big enough. So let me just put some, so there's kind of 3 strips along here of the sticky stuff. So what I do is I peel back. Let me start with the outside one. Sorry, I'm off camera a little bit. Let's see if I can peel this one back too. I'm all fingers and thumbs. There we go. I'll lay this one here like this. And you can just, and then I can just take my snips and cut out this piece. Right. There's my backing. Now I can die cut my joy and peace on that, and hopefully it'll be make it a little bit easier. Ooh. I'm going to run it back again just to be on the safe side. Die cut machine away. The boss. Bye bye, boss. Alright, then hopefully these have cut. Oh, there's the piece. The joy stayed in with my pokey tool. Come out, come out. Here's my take your pick tool, poke it out with this. There we go. Okay, let's put this away. Come hand back in a little bit. Put these away before I lose them. All right, so now we can start to assemble the card. I've got all my little pieces here. So I'm going to take my card front and attach it to the card base. And actually this hasn't, because if you leave it to dry on the cutting board or the clipboard, it actually doesn't warp that much. So you can use whatever adhesive you like. I'm going to use just liquid glue, Tombow, that's whatever. I just find this easiest because then I can make sure that I get all the areas glued, and I have a little bit of wiggle room to make sure I get it straight. I'll attach this. So let's do this one. So there's that. And then we'll assemble, got sticky stuff on my, and we'll assemble these. So we'll put some liquid glue on the back of these guys. Got to remember to do the giveaway, so I'll do that at the end. What does Kathy say? I can hear the heat. I can hear the hail rain at your place. We just had it. I think what you're hearing, Kathy, is my heating. My heating came on because I can't hear the rain, so I think that's what you're hearing. So then these just get stuck down into the middle of this die cut, and this one into here. And you could do whatever color combination you like. I kind of tried a few and I liked this best. This card I did, I think this is the Pacific Point for the word bright, and I'm doing Misty Moonlight on this one. So then we can just peel the backing off this, she says. Famous last words. Okay. There we go. And the nice thing about this is it's kind of repositionable until you really push it down hard. So if I can pan in just a little more. So then we can just set it down, make sure that we've got it where we want it. Just that little piece in. And then we can push it down. So there's joy. Do peace. And often if you've got little pieces left in here, I know Kathy calls them hanging chads. Often once you peel the backing away, those will come right with it. She remembered Kathy saying that at one of her demonstrations. So you don't really need to worry. Let's see if that will happen. I've got here where there was the join and the sticky stuff. What does that say? Gorgeous Kristen says gorgeous grape and Highland heather might be pretty. Yes, that would be really pretty too. So yeah, the little extra pieces came out. Now the only bad thing about this piece is I've got it on the seam. So I've got some little tiny pieces left here. See if I can peel them off. Alright, I can't be bothered with those last two. Alright, so we'll stick this one down. Again, make sure we get it kind of lined up before pressing firmly. This one's not quite right. Close enough. Right, now I just need dimensionals on the back of these. Let me see, let me grab a new sheet of the big ones. I've got little ones, but let's grab some big ones. These off quickly, and then we'll just have that little skinny sentiments to do once these go in. Embellishments, of course. Okay, so then you've just got to kind of basically put them back in their little spot where they came from. There's a piece. And it's kind of cool though, because from an angle you can see a little bit of white poking out from underneath, from the card base. Okay, peace and joy. My piece is a bit crooked, but that's okay. I think by the time everything else is on, it'll look fine. All right, now let's just stamp the rest of the little skinny sentiments to go on there. So I'm going to just take some strips of white paper that I've got left over from when I trimmed down Whisper White cardstock, and I'll grab my stamps and the Misty Moonlight. And I'm using a little pad here underneath because these are photopolymer stamps and they don't have any cushioning, so you need to provide a little cushioning so that you get a nice even image. So you don't need to do that on the red rubber stamps. But so I've got and these are kind of reverse stamps. You'll see what I mean when they stamp. So we've got and then we've got, so the background of the stamp is colored and the letters itself are white. And to you and yours. Okay, and then I'm just going to cut these out by hand. They're a little bit fiddly to do on a trimmer. So I'm just going to take my snips, and I'm going to leave a little white border. And hopefully I can get it somewhat straight. So how are you all doing with your Christmas cards? Have you made them, written them, sent them, bought them? Anybody? I haven't started. I've got a lot of handmade Christmas cards lying around from my Christmas card. You know, I've got all my samples from my Christmas card clubs and things like, you know, doing Facebook Lives, but I don't have enough, so I got to get going. All right, so now I need some mini dimensionals on the back of these. Over. Because the big ones are too big. Right. So I'm going to do peace. I'm going to put the and in the middle there. Now, what's really handy for these little sentiments is, if I can find them, these little a pair of little tweezers. And these are like tweezers that you have to squeeze in to get the item to release. They're kind of like backwards tweezers. So I really like these for placing, like it actually works well on the skinny dies too, but you can line it up and get it straight. So we'll put the and right here. Actually, I think I'm going to put it a bit back this way, like that. Vicky says, I've made a bunch of Christmas cards, but haven't written notes in them yet or addressed them. Yeah, and that's kind of what it's all the notes that takes a long time, isn't it? A couple of years ago, I didn't get my cards finished. I got them started. So I actually finished them in January, and I had them all addressed and the stamps ready to put on, and all ready to go. It was really nice. I just had to get them out and write them. Of course, the challenge was remembering where I'd put them. Okay, so I'm going to put to you and yours down here, like that. Right, I think I would have liked if I'd done my piece just a little bit higher up, but we'll put some embellishments up there, and that'll kind of even things out. So let's grab some embellishments here. So I've got these, I've got two different ones. I've got these ones, These are called Blue Adhesive-Backed Gems, which I really like. And then I've got these ones that I think will go too. These are called Iridescent Pearls, and these are both in the holiday, or the July to December holiday catalogue. I'm going to use these ones. I like these. Right, so let's put a couple down the bottom. And there, and here, and then I'll put 3 up at the top, and that will kind of even things out a little bit, I think. Dark ones. And there. Sorry, going off camera, I forget I'm panned in a little bit, so. So these are 2 different colours. I don't know if you can see, but there's lighter ones and darker ones. So I put the lighter ones on the bottom and the darker ones at the top. I think that's what I did anyway. Right, so what do you think? Let's put these away. Bring back in the other one, and then I want to show you something else I did on one of them too. I must remember to do the giveaway, I mustn't forget that. So here's the other one. So yeah, my piece is kind of going down a little bit, so it needs to, but that's okay, never mind. So which one do you like best? I kind of like both of them. And so let me show you one other thing that I did on one. I haven't made it into a card yet, but this one I put splatters on. I didn't use sandpaper. I put some splatters on, and I used our refill from our white pigment ink stamp pad. So we have this white craft pad, which is just white pigment ink, and so I used the refill from that, which comes like in a little bottle like our regular refills, and squeeze some on here, and then you just do, if I can, oh, I thought I had that open, I thought I'd put my sleeve in it. So what I did was I used the skinniest of the water painters, this is the skinny one, and just added a little bit of water. Let me use this so I don't end up with flecks everywhere. And just get it wet enough where it'll kind of flick off the end of the brush. I don't know if I'm making any flicks, new flicks or not. Yeah, but anyway, that's how you just tap on it. Just tap, tap, tap. Now this takes a long time to dry. You can dry it with a heat tool, or you can just leave it, but it takes a couple of hours, even little specks, to dry. So if you do that, leave yourself plenty of time for it to dry before you start die cutting. But I thought that would be a nice option too, so I'll have to make a card with that background also. But I hope you like the cards today. I will put all the supplies, a list of all the supplies, on this Facebook post, so that if there's anything that you'd like to purchase, you can do that. My host code's up the top of the screen, and it'll be in the post also. So thank you again so much for watching me today, and have a great day, and I'll see you back next week for some handmade Christmas. Bye for now, everyone.